Hey there, I thought I would provide a quick update on all things keto. Something that happens to me about once a month, and it does not seem to tie in with any physical, um, doesn't tie in with Shark Week, is what I'm trying to say. But about once a week or a week, sometime during the month, um, my weight just doesn't move. So that's how it's been for the last week. And although it went down half a pound actually between yesterday and today, so I could be out of the stall. I will know today's weight is where I was I think 2 days ago or 3 days ago. So it's kind of like I went up half a pound and back down. So to me, it's still a stall. And so if I'm still in a stall by Wednesday, I'll weigh myself Wednesday morning first thing, and I don't really eat a meal until 5 because I do intermittent fasting. I will make it a fat fast, and so most of my calories will be fat. And I usually just do that for a day, and that usually shakes up the system enough, and things will be back to normal. Let's see. So that has happened. One thing that I have done, and since I ate them last night and the stall wasn't happening between last night and tonight, I don't think this that, here's the thing. I'm sort of backing up a bit, is that it's hard. I track my food, and I track it especially because of stalls that happen. But there's some people who say that what you eat doesn't really hit the scale for 3 days. So in some ways that's good, because you actually, if that's true, you have some time. Maybe you're like, ooh, I ate quite a bit. I best work out more or do something different to make up for that. So maybe you have some time to sort of negate the effect that that'll have on the scale. But other people don't buy that, and they think it's like the next day or whatever. For me, I think general consistency with what you eat is what's important, and general consistency in a downward motion on the scale, if you're trying to lose weight, is what's important. And what day these things affect the other thing, who cares? If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing with food, then great. Got an overall thing that's working, great. If your scale is generally going down, then great. Don't worry about it too much. There are people who stall for like a month or something like that, and that is just, technically a stall isn't a stall until like 2 weeks, I think I've heard. For me, a week is about the limit before I start going, okay, what's going on here? So I'm usually more careful with my calories and all that, and sometimes we'll throw in a fat fast if things are sticking too long at one spot. So all of that was to say that I made some peppermint patties, and I'll include a link to the recipe, which I kind of adapted. It's a paleo peppermint patty kind of recipe, but there was only one review on it, and the one review said that they were bitter and that there wasn't much peppermint taste. So to combat that, I used more peppermint. There's 2 parts to it, like the coconut peppermint base, and then there's a chocolate part. And I added peppermint to the chocolate part, which is in the recipe, and to both sections I added 10 drops of, it makes 24 of them, so I added about 10 drops total of vanilla stevia drops to the mix. So I think 5 in the coconut part or the peppermint part, and 5 in the chocolate part. Just to sweeten it a bit and hopefully combat the bitterness, and then the peppermint, obviously, to get more peppermint flavor. And it seems to have done the trick. Things I would do differently to the recipe, which you'll see, include that what I've already said. Also, it says finely shredded coconut, and I use flakes. If I had to do it again, I would definitely use finely shredded coconut, or I would finely shred my flakes, because that's just part of the texture that would make it right. And then the chocolate part did not really work for me. It made like a frosting consistency and not nearly enough to put on the stuff. So I ended up using a lot more coconut. The recipe for the chocolate part is basically coconut oil, and cocoa, and there's probably something else, but anyway, that I did that with the stevia and the peppermint, and I used a lot more coconut oil than the recipe writer recommended, because the frosting consistency was not working, because you have like these half-filled mini muffin cups, and you've got to add the chocolate to it, and the frosting, like, I could spread it on, but I barely had any in there for what she suggested. Maybe it's because it's been so hot here that my coconut oil, which normally you probably maybe have a jar of coconut oil, normally looks like milky white, and it's totally clear because it's so hot here. And so I just put a bunch of that in a measuring cup and just barely measured the cocoa and added the stevia drops and the peppermint, and then I mixed that up, and then it was more like a liquid, and that worked so much better. Then I could pour that over my lumpy coconutness and fill the muffin cups, and that worked out so much better. So those are my tips for you, but I think it's a nice treat. I'm probably actually going to skip them tonight just because it's a new thing in my diet. I think I've had it for 2 days, and even though I dropped half a pound between last night and today, I just think when you're not sure if you're in a stall, you should probably just stick with the mainstream stuff that you normally eat. So, and make sure your calories are under and all that stuff. So I'm being extra careful. I'd been eating 2 each day. I might actually have 1 tonight, just mostly because I want to keep them going out of the house. And I might switch to a 1 per serving, even though the stevia drops are the only weird sweetener in there. The rest is, cocoa and coconut butter and coconut oil and coconut itself, so nothing crazy that should mess with keto, but just to be extra careful. So I guess those are the things going on. I will post the recipe, and whenever I feel like making an update, I will make an update. And thanks for watching.